Alright, in this video I want to talk about being God. Now this is very interesting but also silly at the same time. And it all started with this post here on the right from Ryan Zion. Now this post is from this fellow here. His name is Alan Watts. I guess you would say he's a New Ager kind of thing, an Eastern religion kind of guy. But his quote here is, Jesus Christ knew he was God, so wake up and find out eventually who you really are. In our culture, of course, they'll say you're crazy and you're blasphemous, and they'll either put you in jail or in a nut house, which is pretty much the same thing. However, if you wake up in India and tell your friends and relations, my goodness, I've discovered that I'm God, they'll laugh and say, oh, congratulations, at last you found out. Right? Now, uh, this part about being put in jail or in that house, I don't know anybody who's been arrested or put in the nut house because they say they're God. Maybe if they just start acting foolishly and breaking the law, maybe. But outside of that, I don't know that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's stuff I don't know about. Um, some people will say that's blasphemous because it kind of is in the way that this person means it. They mean that they're God, which when you just break it down simply, you can tell that you are not God. And how do you figure that out? Well, easy. Did you create the universe? Did you create the earth? Did you create your parents? Did you create yourself? If you have no to any of those questions, then you're not God. Right? Have you always existed? No, you haven't. So how can you say you are God? Right? In the sense that this fella's meaning it, in the same sense that Jesus Christ meant it, no, we are not God. We are not. And it's silly that we will believe somebody like this by faith. A man like this. We'll believe him by faith. A man just like us. By faith. No evidence. What has this guy done to prove what he said here? He just made a quote saying you're God, and people believe it. Then they accept it, and they think, oh yeah, I'm God. I am. But you're gonna grow old, and you're gonna die just like this guy. So how the hell do you figure you are God? It just doesn't make any sense. That's what led to a conversation, a brief one with this fella, into this, because he compares it to Jesus Christ. That basically Jesus Christ is like the rest of us and we're like Jesus Christ, but he knew he was God. All right, if you're going to make that connection, then there's a couple of things. One is, were you born of a virgin? Because that's a big difference. Are you going around healing people? Because if you can go and heal people like Jesus did because you're God, you should be doing it. If I could, I would. And that's basically the summation of the conversation. It was real quick on his post here about, okay, you're God, just like Jesus Christ is God. Go around and heal people. And then he talked about healing himself by his diet and that his subconscious within heals him and it's not him. And saying that the placebo effect can heal you. And yeah, so it's kind of like, all right, well, that's not like Jesus at all then. You know, Jesus went around and would just tell crippled people to get up and walk. Rub some mud that he made with his spit in somebody's eyes to make them be able to see again when they were blind. Did all kinds of things like that. Healing people of sicknesses and crippling defects. But Alan Watts never did that. Ryan Zion's not doing that. Yet they believe they're just as much God as Jesus Christ is. Isn't that some weird, messed up shit? How we all can just get caught up in that. Because if you're not close to God, you can get caught up in this. I've got caught up in stuff like this, such as Gnosticism, which is the same old trick from the beginning, yet you don't see it. And it's that you can be like God through knowledge. You need to know you are God. And the same thing with Gnosticism, where it catches you by saying that knowledge saves you because it's a knowledge of God. You know God in a personal relationship. As Adam knew Eve was an intimate sexual relationship, you can have a deep, intimate relationship with God as well. And sexuality is a bit of a metaphor for it because God comes inside of you, and that's a deep, intimate relationship with God. But it's a trick because it mixes some truth and gets you all caught up thinking that you are equal with God, that you are equal with the one that created you. And this is just utter foolishness. You're God, but you don't know it? That this guy has to tell you? You don't know you're God, but you don't know it. You need this jackass to come tell you. Isn't that enough to let you know that this is bullshit? It's the same trick, and it's played out in different ways. We don't even realize it. So many different ways. You can be as God. You will surely not die. Would you see that with science now, right? Getting all this knowledge and all this stuff to make it so your aging slows down or your aging stops. You heal all this stuff. I think the QAnons are talking about all that stuff now. Alien technology where you get put in these little machines or something and it can heal anything. Cancers and regrow limbs and all this stuff. It's miracles, right? And it's just the same old lie about you can be as God. You will not die. You just need the knowledge, right? Well, it led to this post. If you haven't read it already, please pause and read it. I don't know if I'll go over it because I pretty much already said everything. I can quickly go over it. That I say it's strange and funny how some people claim that Jesus is like the rest of us, that Jesus just realized he is God and you need to do the same thing. Yet none of these people do anything like Jesus did, right? Yet how can you get caught up believing you're God just as Jesus is God when you're nothing like Jesus? It doesn't make any sense. And I was like, this is obviously the same deception used from the beginning. You can be like God, dun dun dun, right? Jesus was born of a virgin, sinless, spotless, went around healing others, and he died to save everybody else. How is that anything like you or me or anybody? There's no evidence to back this up whatsoever, yet these people have faith in a man just like them, a guy who is equal to them, and in some cases lower than they are because he's being deceitful. He's lying and bullshitting. It's the blind leading the blind here. Nobody is above anybody. We're all equal, yet we put our faith into a man like this, and there's many others like him. But we can look at creation, the universe, a single spoken sentence. God spoke everything into existence. We can go straight to the Creator and ask questions, find out what is true, what is real. We can have faith in that because we can see that, well, look, everything exists, we exist. How is there something instead of nothing? Why do we exist? You know there's a God. You know you were created. You know you didn't create everything and that you didn't create yourself. And if you believe that, you just believe it because you want to. You're just going on in speculation and imagination, daydreaming, and you're starting to live it out as if it's real, which is why you might want to be put in a nut house. That's more joking, but as long as you're not hurting anybody, whatever. Believe what you want. But anyway, and I go on to ask about how can you actually believe in obvious deception? It's making you think that you don't need God because you are God, which is just utterly ridiculous. If you're God, do something good. Make a change in the world. Help everybody out, right? Oh, but these people do nothing but talk. They just talk, and people accept it by blind faith. He doesn't have to prove anything. He doesn't have to present any evidence. He just has to talk. Yeah, so I just go on how it boggles the mind, but what I want to get into is the conversations here with this guy, because we were talking here, that's led to this post, and that's why he decided to talk to me here. He says silly things here. Yeshua never asked anyone to worship him. Odd that people worship a man. That's the thing. Jesus is not like us. He's born of a virgin because his father is God. He is God incarnate as a man. He's not like us. So it's not worshiping a man. It's worshiping a God that became a man to let us know that God's not against us. He's for us and that he loves us. And Jesus never asked anyone to worship him, but people worshipped him and he accepted it. He never said not to worship him. And it's interesting that this guy talks as if he is talking for Jesus and quoting Jesus, but he never brings up anything from the Bible to back up what he's saying. He could bring up some things to twist it, but then I could reply to it. Because even the devil, Satan himself, will use the Bible. And if you don't know the Bible, he'll get you to believe all kinds of silly shit. But anyway, he's talking about God is within. The kingdom of God is within. Christ is the oil, the anointed one. The Messiah, he's anointed with oil. The oil represents the Holy Spirit. He's the anointed one because he has the Holy Spirit. He's anointed with it. You're not, obviously. But anyway, people call God comes from within, hence Jesus always pointing to his heart with a halo brain mind. This, Jesus always pointing to his heart with a halo brain mind, this is just paintings done hundreds and thousands of years after Jesus is gone. Where in the Bible is Jesus always pointing at his heart and is said that he has a halo and this bright aura over his head? That's just all symbolic stuff. That people just put together, and a lot of people look at it as pagan. I'm about to be interrupted, so I'm probably going to cut the video short here, but I just tell him, everything he's saying there's no actual evidence for, right? He believes this stuff, but he doesn't have any actual evidence to back it up, yet he still believes it. And I ask him to present evidence, but he doesn't say a damn thing. It's all just a empty claim. Like, I could say things all I want. It doesn't mean it's true. And if you believe it, you're believing it by faith, just like this guy, Alan Watts. He's just saying something, yet people just believe it by faith. He doesn't present any actual evidence, any proof. He doesn't demonstrate this in his life, but people believe it. Jesus says, I am, right? He claims to be God. And guess what? He does things to show that he's God. This guy says, I am God, and so are you, and demonstrates nothing, and people believe it. Here is, he just posts a clip here, a little picture that I laugh at because it's just somebody who wrote a book about ESP, or extrasential perception. I don't know if I said that right. sensual perception, extra senses like a sixth sense, like telepathy and clairvoyance and what have you, telekinesis, moving things with your mind, knowing people's thoughts, seeing the future, all these kinds of things. And they believe that they have this ability, and it's like, okay, yeah, you say this, demonstrate these things, right? We all have it. How come we're not seeing this demonstrated? We don't see people like Watts and his followers demonstrating clairvoyance and helping people, saving them before they get into an accident or dying. You don't see them sending thoughts to others to warn them of anything like that, right? It's just talk. And I just kind of bring that up. And this is the funniest fucking thing ever right here. Cognitive dissonance. It says here, when they are presented with evidence that works against that belief, the new evidence cannot be accepted. What evidence? That's what I've been talking about from the beginning. Back this shit up. Go around, heal people, show that you're God, show that you have these sixth sense abilities. Give me the evidence. Your words, typing out here and quoting somebody else and bringing up somebody else's book is not evidence. It's just people talking. And then this asshole actually tries to say it's cognitive dissonance because it can't accept evidence. What evidence? Am I missing something here? And then this right here. Jesus is my proof. Listen to him, not me. That's whose message I carry. And it was like, you've presented no proof. You haven't even quoted Jesus. You have just made empty claims. It's just ridiculous. Oh, because I put a little prayer emoji. I'm spiritual and holy, and I'm trying to help you. No. You just mocked with this bullshit here. You don't present evidence, and then you mock that I'm not accepting evidence. So either you really are blind, or you're a prick as being a troll. But anyway, here's his last little message here. He says above a list of books, worked with the CIA and whatnot, which is interesting that he trusts the government and the CIA and all this stuff. And when people like him were going around in the 60s and 70s and giving out all these drugs and stuff because they had to do that to get people to believe the bullshit they were spewing. Kind of like a Charles Manson, right? And I ask him, you trust these books by faith, is it? Because you can quote all kinds of books that say, farting, through a paper towel roll can make you levitate. But until you actually demonstrate it, it's just words on a piece of paper, unless you take it by faith, right? So, yeah, this whole thing is just, it's nonsensical. And as I end this video, I will say, non-apologetically, that, yeah, I use some supposed foul language. But I don't see it that way. Feel free to correct me. But I see no difference in saying crap or shit. I don't see a difference in saying butt or ass. I don't see a difference in saying butthole or asshole or hole of an ass. I see no difference, so I don't see why one is foul and the other isn't. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Now and then, I do say a form of fuck. I don't necessarily see that as foul. I don't know what it means to you. But what I was told when I was younger is it means for unlawful common knowledge. I was told that it means fornication under consent of the king. And some other things like that. But I don't necessarily see it as foul. But out of all the words I get that one the most. Out of things like saying ass and shit, I don't see what's wrong with that. I do try to stop using the F word so much, but sometimes emotions get fired up and you gotta use some sentence enhancers, right? And if you stop listening to me and you start looking at me because of a word I said, I think it shows more about you and your character than anything else. Because if you're just going to ignore the whole message because of something like that and you focus on that, I just see you as a troll. I don't give you much attention or any kind of credit or any respect at all. Uh, if you're worried about children hearing it, or your children particularly, but you like the message I'm saying, well, just take the message and teach it to them yourself. And you don't have to worry about my filthy mouth. That's pretty simple, right? But anyway, that is that. Thanks for watching and take care.